Yeah, I found out.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know his Christian name at all?
No, I did know.
Don't worry.
I'll probably have it.
Yeah,
I've got the list of Kobe House. I've got a Kobe House list. Have you got a Kobe House list?
I think you've given me one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you'll find his name there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I can't remember off right now.
Yeah, because that was unusual. That he was one of the few officers kept there, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I went and saw him one time I was over with my running episodes. I went and saw him. I've got. He used to press different leaves of different plants, and he gave me some. So I've still got them in an envelope put away.
Now another officer, Lieutenant Scotty Howell, was he in your camp?
No, that name doesn't ring a bell.
No. Well, what about the doctor, Captain Clive Boyce?
Yeah.
Did you have much contact with him?
Only when I was on sick parade, and when I was on sick parade, one time I got injured pretty badly on a boat unloading steel ingots. I got hit in the shin by an ingot that flew out of the net, because the Japanese on the winches used to try their damnedest to hurt prisoners as much as they could, and they used to lift the sling up and let it swing backwards and forwards, and the uprights, the four uprights in the corner of the hull of the ship, he'd try and hit that with the sling, and the ingots would shoot out, and yeah, run the risk of getting hit with one, and they're about that big, about that thick, and one hit me on the shin and split my shin, and they had to take me off the ship to a Japanese hospital to have it fixed, but all they did when they got me there was filled it up with some white powder, and it was aching that much. That night I couldn't sleep, and my groin was aching. They finished up, they had to take me up to Captain Boyce, who cleaned it all out, and there was a piece of ingot was sticking in the bone of my shin. Yeah, so he cleaned that up for me. But that was the only time anything serious I had to do with him. Any other time would be like, you know, if you had a touch of dengue fever or something like that, went up there to get treated. But what I'd like to say about Captain Boyce was that he was noted for anybody who was really sick. He really put himself to make sure he could help them to the last bit. And my mate I knocked around with in Kobe, Alfie Jones, and had a lot to do with Alf. In the time I was at Kobe, he finished up with pneumonia, double pneumonia, and in my opinion Clive Boyce saved him. He thought that Alf wouldn't survive, and he told us to come up and we could go up and see him any time we wanted to, you know, and his eyes were sunken back and he had big sores on his lips, and we thought he was a goner, but he pulled through, and Captain Boyce, he was given a little bit extra being a doctor, and instead of him having it for himself, he fed Alfie Jones with it, and he survived, and Alf came home. And I always think now that how he saved Alf has definitely saved Alfie Jones' life,
yes,
plus other guys too. So that's what, Peter, that's what irks me to think a doctor at Weary Dunlop gets so much praise for what he's done, and you hear of so many other things that other doctors have done, equal, and it's not, they don't know about it. And I can tell you that there was less people died from the time Captain Boyce, I think Dr. Longbottom was the other doctor, he's an English doctor, was in Kobe House in the end. But I know that it was noted that there was very few deaths after Captain Boyce and our party arrived at Kobe House.
Was he on the ship when the whales were Maru when you went up there, or was he there ahead of you?
Yeah.
He was on the same
Oh,
ship.
yes, yeah.
Now, did he have any medical orderlies with him?
Yeah, the main one that sticks out is Les Bond, but he had another little one. If I looked up my list, I could tell you who he was. He was a little short guy. He was very good too, but Les Bond was terrific.
And what was it? Bond, was he?
He's from New South Wales.
Was he a soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I stayed at his place when I went over to compete in the Australian cross country championships.
Do you know what unit Bond was from? I know it's a long time.
No. I think they're listed on. I think they're listed on my list that you got, Peter. Who they belong to? Whether they were second 18th or second 29th.
Yep. Well, maybe second 19th, and with being a New South Wales one.
Probably in J Force.
Yes. Yeah.
Alec Dandy was covering most of those guys.
Well, Alec was second 30th, of course.
Yeah. Well,
Now, tell us about Alec Dandy.
Well, Alec Dandy slept opposite me in COVID. All the sergeants were in the same section. Sergeants and corporals were in the same section, slept opposite me. So I slept here, they slept there. It was a fold-up table. I ate and slept in the same spot. I ate here, I laid back, that's my bed. And Norm van der Veen there, Keith McFarlane there, and it go up to about 10 from where I slept, where Harry Tyso slept. And there was just enough room for you to walk from the platform, like when you walk up, like say the platform where the table, if the platform was up, you wouldn't be able to walk up.
Yes.
You'd have to get up on the platform you slept on. So you lowered down and you put the support underneath. Well, opposite me was where the sergeants sort of had a little bit of a square where three guys slept around the corner, then it went straight along, and Alec Dandy, James, what's the name? What's his name? Clive James's father.
All right.
Was right opposite.
Really?
Yeah, and Bill Shields. I can't think of it. And then right along to, and Jack Killing, he was a corporal. He was would have been the third last from the end, and the guy next to him, he had been wounded in the leg during the war, and he used to find it very hard to dress himself, and that's why this Jack Gilding, he's a terrific guy. Anybody should have been decorators for what he did as a pre-ad. There's one guy that should have been, and you hear of other ones getting this and that, but Jack Gilding, he'd help anybody. So he helped me. He didn't have to. He didn't know me from a bar of soap. He's a South Australian. But he pushed himself forward and did what I was supposed to do. Didn't know me. And we became terrific mates. And as I say, he used to dress this guy, put his boots on for him, and for him to go to work. Things like that. Unbelievable.
Do you remember Harry Tyso's death?
Well, that's the other thing with Harry Tyso. See, when you died in Japan, they didn't put them in a coffin, they put them in a barrel. And how they could fit